where is the tweet that I wanted to bring up? I had one in particular. I'm going to have to scroll through. It's and some people, I don't have a memory. I just have a system of saying, okay, someone says something. Let me just do a quick search to see if at any point in their Twitter timeline, they said the exact opposite of what they are now currently saying. Let's start with Andrea Horwath. For those who don't know who she is, Mom Hamilton, Ontarian, leader of the Ontario NDP. That explains everything. I only knew that she was the official opposition. I don't know how the NDP is the opposition to the Liberal government now that they've joined forces. She, her. That's not the part that I'm suspicious about. What is this? Is this a peach? Is that? It's an orange. It's an orange because I'm sorry. I'm dense sometimes, people. It's an orange because I guess, the NDP is the orange party. Okay, so I'm an idiot. It's not a peach. Still think it's kind of peculiar, but this is what Andrea Horwath, who is a member of the most shamelessly hypocritical virtue signaling party, the NDP, maybe second only to the Liberals, although the Liberals, I think, have always been pretty overtly dishonest in their shameless virtue signaling. The NDP purported to be the party of the people at one point in time. I'm going to read this. This is what she tweeted. I don't know if it's solicited. I don't know if anybody asked her to put in her take on American politics. She's a Canadian politician, so I guess she has to. In as much as Jagmeet Singh comes out and says he doesn't want Donald Trump to win, stick your nose into foreign affairs, whatever. I say that with full awareness of confession through projection, people, that I comment on American politics, but I'm not a Canadian politician. Distinction. Plus, I find it interesting. Let's read what Andrea Horwath has to say for those who have not already read ahead and done your homework. People are scared. By the way, cue the virtue signaling hypocrite music in the background. If I had a violin, people are scared, sad, and furious that the U.S. may again deny women and non-binary folks their reproductive rights. I don't know what she means by the reproductive rights of non-binary folks. I'd be curious to know. I'm genuinely curious to know, but let's set that aside. We discussed this yesterday. Non-binary folks have reproductive rights as well, I guess. I just don't know if they're the same as the rights currently at issue in this decision. People are scared, sad, and furious that the U.S. may again deny women and non-binary folks their reproductive rights. First of all, this is wrong. This is legally wrong. This is legally ignorant. This is legally what's the word I'm looking for? Misleading. This is misinformation. We're going to get into what would be the impact of this draft, even if it became the judgment issued next week. We'll get into it. And it's not this. It's not denying women the right or the accessibility to the act. It's and you know what I mean by the act, capital A. Even if that draft decision, which now seems to be confirmed as a leak, were to be the judgment issued by the majority tomorrow, this is wrong. So Andrea Horwath, congratulations. You've just misinformed whoever reads you and trusts what you have to say. But we'll get there. People are scared, sad, and furious that the U.S. may again deny women and non-binary folks their reproductive rights. We have a right to control our own bodies and to make our own choices about our health. This is not negotiable. Not now, not ever. We have the right to control our own bodies and to make our own choices about our health. This is not negotiable. Not now, not ever. Unless, just hear me out, people. These are two tweets. Oh, no, sorry. This is the first one. This is what Andrea Horwath said. Oh, darn it. I cut the date out, so I don't know when. Recently. I fully support mandatory vaccinations of healthcare and education workers based on science and public health. Talk to me about science when go back to your other tweet. Talk to me about science there, depending on what you meant by the reproductive rights of non-binary folks. I hate the word folks, by the way. I hate it. I hate the way it's used by politicians. But talking of science, tell me what you meant by the reproductive rights of non-binary folks. Do you mean to suggest that biological males who transition to females could have the act rights. They could have reproductive rights as relates to the act. They would be governed by the subject matter of Roe v. Wade. If that's what you meant, you might want to go back to science class. But she fully supports mandatory vaccinations of healthcare workers and education workers, while simultaneously asserting that we have the choices over the control over our bodies and to make choices about our own health. This is the best part. I made a mistake yesterday raising charter rights. I was wrong. I was wrong to raise charter rights. On the one hand, I'm simultaneously suggesting that women have a constitutional right to the act, while simultaneously saying I was wrong to raise charter rights. Under the Canadian Constitution, charter rights are enshrined in our Constitution. So on the one hand, she is arguing that women have a constitutional right to the act, while simultaneously saying I was wrong to raise charter rights in our Constitution. It's impossible. It's impossible. Now, someone is going to say, because I appreciate it, I will steel man the argument that she fully supports mandatory vaccinations for healthcare workers and education workers. There's a certain circumstance in which it's not your body and it's not your choice, and that's when you are in a field where you need to be vaccinated for the safety of others. Fine. Can appreciate that. Still think that nothing takes away from the idiocy of saying, I made a mistake. By the way, we're demonetized. Who could have thunk? Request review. Yeah, of course. Can't point out government hypocrisy. That's wrong think. I can understand that caveat. We'll get to it in a second, but nothing can take away from the idiotic statement. The act is a constitutional right for women in the States, but I was wrong for talking about our constitutional charter rights in our Constitution. Cannot reconcile those two pegs. You cannot fit that square peg into the circle hole. You can't. But on the issue of she was talking about healthcare workers and yada, yada, okay, fine. All right. I found another one from Andrea Horvath. It's this one right here. This one was from, what's the 11 month? November 3rd, 2021. So November, December, January, February, March, April. My, how much changes in 5 months. What did I just do here? By refusing to mandate vaccines, Doug Ford, by refusing to mandate vaccines, Doug Ford is catering to anti-vaxxers at the risk of our vulnerable loved ones. Now, she might still be talking about the healthcare. By the way, the party supports mandatory vaccination. They support Trudeau's vaccine policy. They support masks. It's a non-starter to suggest this is just one small corner of the constitutional charter that they want to, fold up for a second. But then to equate not compelling it to being anti-V. Yeah, I'm grateful to the vast majority of our healthcare workers who've already got their shots. They deserve government working to protect them and their patients. Not their body, not their choice. And if you dare say otherwise, you're an anti-V. You're catering to those, what Jagmeet Singh called the selfish far-right extremists. So anyways, I had to point that out to the general public. It's preposterous absurdity is what it is. There's no other way. It's beyond disingenuous. It's gaslighting, hypocrisy, and it I don't even know how you can reconcile it as being not ill-intentioned. Like you want the credit, you want the social media virtue ethical credit for respecting bodily autonomy while simultaneously violating a person's bodily autonomy. You want the credit for being a hero, for saving someone, while simultaneously drowning them. It's not even the same as saying, like, I'm putting their head underwater, I'm going to pull them up and save their life. This is, you want credit for being a good person while simultaneously being a bad person. That makes you worse than just being a bad person. At least when you're a bad person, like T.S. Eliot, I think he said. Yeah. At least villainy sleeps. The ill intent of trying to portray yourself as a hero while simultaneously acting like the villain, that never sleeps. At least In war, they say, you deal with traitors before enemies, because enemies are your enemies. Traitors pretend to be your friends. The idea that these politicians, they want all the virtue, all the goodwill, all of the credit that goes with being thoughtful, respecting constitutional rights, respecting individual rights. They want all that credit while simultaneously taking the Constitution, crumpling it up multiple times so it gets nice and soft, and then wiping their backsides with it. And if anybody hasn't seen Harold and Kumar, not Go to White Castle, that's classic. Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay. It's one of the funniest movies ever made. But that scene when Harold and Kumar get arrested. No, it wasn't Harold and Kumar. Was it? It was the brothers, the Doobie Brothers. When they get arrested, and the bald guy from the late night show, he's interrogating them, and then they say, like, don't we have constitutional rights? What about the Fifth Amendment? And then the guy tears out the Fifth Amendment from the Constitution, puts it down his backside, rubs his backside with it, and then throws it back to them on the table, and it's filthy. And then the guy says, why is your butt so filthy? And he says, don't ask questions you don't want the answers to. Classic movie, but that's effectively what they've done with our Constitution. But they want credit for preserving it while desecrating it.